Hi everyone, I'm Geography Singh, and this is Race to 2030. Today's episode is about Goal 10, which is Reduced Inequalities. The pandemic has hit some of the most vulnerable groups such as women, old people, people with disabilities, children, and migrants or refugees. The pandemic has shined a bright light on the inequalities presented in our modern day society. We have seen this happen in America, where discrimination against blacks and whites still continue. To discuss this topic more, I'm joined by my dear and longtime friend, Jessica Hua. I first met Jessica back in 3rd grade, and since then I've seen her blossom into a bright young woman ready to place her mark in the world. She's a great writer and always comes up with interesting ideas to solve a problem. I've enjoyed talking and hanging out with her over the years. With her special interest in business, I've decided to talk to her about this very important topic. How do you think we can reduce income inequalities?
Well, first of all, I think that when we talk about we don't really talk about the government. We're talking about the general public. So, in my opinion, private companies that offer public services, such as transport or maybe even healthcare, could include special discounts and prices for those who can prove that they're in a tight financial position. We could use microchipped cards or some kind of program that is frequently updated by the government, since they are the ones who will keep track of most of it, or companies, and have a form protection on the card to prevent fraud and unauthorized usage.
What do you think government should do to promote more equal opportunities and bring an end to discrimination?
Um, when we're talking about the government, I would suggest involving taxes, more likely to happen in more free, quote unquote, free countries like America, for example. And this should make it a bit more fair, since those with lower incomes would have to pay less taxes compared to those with higher income. So they could have more money to spend on themselves and to improve their lives. I also think that governments should um, improve the quality of education and healthcare so that people with lower incomes won't be discriminated against. For example, they can still get hired since they will have an education, so they're qualified for a job. And those with terminal illnesses, for example, and a really low income will still get a chance to be treated.
How do you think we should encourage development and investment in LDCs, which are low developed countries?
I think that we could bring attention to the investors about the country's agricultural land or resources such as oil or diamonds, things like that. We can also encourage the local government to offer grants to businesses in the local area, which can boost the economy there and help out the country. We can also support some charities that contribute to the startup of small businesses in those countries, and we can just help support them so that their local economy can be improved and they'll have a better financial situation.
Do you think we, the young people, should get involved to bring a curb to inequalities? If so, in what ways?
I definitely think that young people such as us should get involved into these problems because future generations will be influenced by our actions. And if we can bring more awareness to this issue, we can influence the next generation to have a different mindset or different values concerning this situation. And therefore, they might be more active in contributing to solving this problem as well. And we can also lessen the impact of inequality to those who are being discriminated against by holding protests or campaigns, as that is seen more and more often these days. And this can also help raise awareness and bring attention to the issue, which can help out those who are discriminated against.
Do you ever think inequality can be ended in our society or at least brought to a curb? Why or why not?
I think that inequality will never go away. In my opinion, that's just because that's how the world works, you know? But I think that it can be brought to a curb, but only to an extent. There will always be people who are against this idea because they have different beliefs or values and views, or maybe people just like to profit off of it and they have a chance to do it. Sometimes they will take that chance, which is why I don't think it will really end. But it can be reduced by a certain amount, which I think is good progress if that were to happen.
Well, that's all the questions I have for today. Thank you for being part of this interview and thank you for sharing your opinions and your perspectives on these questions, especially about reduced inequalities, which is goal 10.
Oh, it's no problem. Thank you for having me here today in this interview.
Well, that's it for my 10th episode. I'll be back in episode 11, which is Sustainable Cities and Communities. Inequality will always exist in our society despite how much we work to end it. However, we can take steps to curb it and not make it to an extent that the issue becomes uncontrollable. We all can solve problems, so let's think outside the box to curb this issue and achieve this goal. Let's show more respect to our neighbors or those who are there to help us in times of emergencies. With that, let's also respect our environment, look after it, and just like how you look after yourself. Thank you and see you all soon.